So looking at our results, it looks like we definitely need to increase the size of the particles a little more. So I'll thicken up the stream so that there's no overlaps to particles. That's very important with the smoke effect, as the render tree relies on the volume of particles to shade. And I'm going to actually move out into the Turbulize compound once again and begin to increase the size of variance. I'm going to allow for the particles to move a little bit more from side to side. So I'll increase the X and the Z scale of the turbulence so it has a wider range to move within. And I'm going to start by lowering the turbulence scale to try and introduce more random streams of particles. So particles tend to follow one another with turbulence, and if you can get separate little streams of particles branching off, yet following their own turbulence patterns, you tend to create a more believable smoke effect. Eventually what we do is we cull out all of the particles that aren't following any kind of leader. So if a particle falls off on its own, for example, let me see if I can find a fall away particle here. So a particle at the end here has very few neighboring particles, so eventually when I shade it, it will be more transparent than particles who are clumped together. So that's part of the shading effect that you want to keep in mind. So it's a matter of tuning this scale to your liking. So here I actually start to get some pretty interesting effects, and I like what's happening up here. The particles, for the most part, stay connected through the lower half of their life, but have a tendency to branch out a little bit more in the latter 50-60%. So if I was to lower the scale a little bit more, I'd probably increase the frequency of scale. Lowering it even a little bit more. There we go. I think that's actually looking pretty nice. The speed isn't bad. Maybe I'll actually lower the animation speed even more and really slow down the movement of the particles through the turbulence. Really deliberate. And maybe I'll increase the scale a little more. Say 1.4. Alright, so I like what's happening here. Let's kind of save this and move on.